Okay, welcome back, boys. Last time we got all the ingredients for the motherfucking cake. Now we're gonna make the motherfucking cake. I'm Basse, and I'm here playing the motherfucking game Everlasting Motherfucking Summer. And I'm saying motherfucking a lot. So now you know this ain't child friendly. Get off, children! This is real adult hours. Good. So now, coming to the square, I stopped for a moment to catch my breath. It wasn't that the cart that was heavy. It ran smoothly without any noticeable effort required. It was just that any physical exertion caused pain to me now. Both a physical and mental one. I sat down on the bench and closed my eyes for a moment. What's that? I didn't really give a damn who it was. Probably just a fellow pioneer girl taking an interest in an unfamiliar companion in distress. What are you talking about? I asked her tiredly. She didn't reply. Those are the ingredients for a cake. Do you like cakes? I don't know. What, you never tried cakes? I don't know. Obviously the girl didn't get what I was talking about, but it didn't surprise me at that moment. I really wasn't interested in the conversation. I was so tired that I had zero intention of classifying external distractions and tagging them as either common or uncommon. I see. Come down to the canteen later and have a bite. Really? Really? And what are they made of? What? I asked indifferently. These cakes? Well, some flour, some sugar, various fillings. Now that's a strange question. Doesn't she know what cakes are made of? And you have it all here? Yeah, sort of. And sugar? And sugar. Could you lend me a little? What for? I thought it was over the top. And we're gonna look. A sudden gust of wind made me grab the card instinctively and open my eyes. However, nobody was there. Am I daydreaming? I noticed, though, that the sugar sack was untied and a small heap of it had poured out. Could it be that she was scared by the wind and ran away? Having fixed the sack, I got up from the bench and continued on my challenging strawberry way. Okay, challenging strawberry way. There wasn't a single person near the canteen. No wonder. Dinner was still an hour away. I brought the handcart to the rear exit and handed the foodstuffs to the camp cook. She must have already been told what to do with them, as she gave me such an unpleasant look. I'm not sure how long it takes to bake a cake, but it seems she had to hurry. I just wanted to relax for the remaining time up till dinner. In short, I was so tired that I just sat on the steps and waited. My eyes closed themselves. I guess I got so tired throughout the day that I didn't even notice how someone came up to me until they pat me on the shoulder. Hi. No, wait. Hi. 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 Wasn't that her voice? Yeah. Hi. Miko was standing before me. Yeah? I didn't need a mirror to imagine the expression of skepticism and annoyance on my face. Oh, excuse me, I must have interrupted you. No problem, I was just sitting here. Alright then. Miko beamed with a smile. I was just coming to dinner. I thought that it's time already, and then it appeared to me that it's too early. But I decided to check just in case. Maybe it's not me who's mistaken, but the clock is... Well, not the clock. Clocks can't be mistaken, it's just that I misread it. She seemed to be ultimately confused now and fell silent. It's still about half an hour before dinner. Oh, that's great. Then I'll sit here and wait without you, if you don't mind. Frankly speaking, I do mind. You know, I have some matters to attend to. I stood up quickly and left without saying goodbye, ignoring Miko as I always did, while she screamed something after me. No, I like Miko. She's funny. She's funny. She's a nice girl. Yeah. Not as good as Lena, but yeah, she's good. A minute later, I got to the square and sat on the bench with the firm intention of finding a quiet and safe place here to wait for dinner. I think this is the first time in the last 4.5 days when I felt like this. I was just irritated because of some insignificant details, but indeed, I was really angry. I completely stopped caring about where I am and why I am here. I don't care about how to get out either. What's driving me mad is that I always have to carry out some stupid task given by our camp leader, and it's always me who gets into stupid situations and sometimes even end up looking like a clown. If all of this is some alien trick or a plot of the universal mind, they better consult with their psychiatrist. I gritted my teeth and clenched my fist, and most annoying thing is that everything that happens seems to happen by itself somehow. I'd be happier not having to carry around bags of sugar that weigh a ton, but I have no choice at all. I mean, any other option would lead to much worse consequences than a muscle strain or a hurt pride.
Who are you angry with?
Uliana was standing in front of me and smiled slyly. Nobody really, I answered absently, but my fist gave me away. Just like that.
Okay, it's up to you. You better tell me why did you run around the camp the whole day with some kind of bags?
I had to. I replied reluctantly.
I guess it was just food.
Maybe it was. Liana was about to say something, but at the moment the bell rang calling the pioneers for dinner. I sighed in relief and quickly headed to the canteen, leaving Liana behind. Sorry, boys. I had to cough, and that sounded fucked up. And I'll apologize. That was a severe lack of my judgment, and that will never ever happen again, unless when I take a slurp of this little water bottle. That was very nice. I like it very much.
Semyon, thank you very much.
For what? The camp leader gave me a friendly smile.
For the cake, of course.
Ah, sure. It was at that exact moment that I understood the true meaning of the saying, keep your fangs to feed your cat.
You didn't tell anybody this ought to be a surprise.
Yeah.
That's my boy. And now, off you go to dinner.
Olga Dmitrievna waved her hand, pointing at the canteen. I stepped through the doorway slowly and started to look for a free place. It turned out there were plenty today, so I got the chance to eat all alone. There was fish with mashed potatoes for dinner. What misfortune once again. I'll be left half hungry. And didn't we have fish for lunch? Is it a fish-only day today? Damn, that sucks. My N-word. Having pushed my plate with the frenzy dweller away, I let my head on my hands and closed my eyes. But soon somebody came up to the table.
Hey, are you alright?
I'm fine, I replied without changing my position.
Just tired?
Yeah, a little.
That's bad.
Slavia said it seriously. Of course.
You remember that we are going for the hike after the dinner? Don't you? Have you prepared everything?
What, where? I opened my eyes and lifted my head up instantly. Lena was standing by Slavia.
The hike?
She was surprised.
Didn't you know?
No? I put my head down on the table and covered it in my hands. If only I could sink into the ground right away. The girls remained silent. I was left alone with my thoughts for some time, and that was fine by me. Maybe I could have sat that way until the end of dinner time, but the strong voice of Olga Dmitrievna was heard from the opposite end of the canteen.
Guys, to celebrate the miraculous rescue of our friend and comrade Shuruk, we baked this cake for you all.
I lifted my head idly and looked towards the camp leader, but couldn't see anything beyond the pioneers' backs.
A second, just a second.
And nothing about me rescuing Shuruk or gathering the ingredients for the cake. As if that's how it ought to be. Well, it would be wrong to expect anything else from a camp leader.
Let's go. Or we won't get our share.
Slavia smiled.
Let's go.
Lena agreed. Yeah, sure. I got up reluctantly and tagged along behind the girls. As we approached the crowd of Pioneer, Olga Dmitrievna was just putting the cake in the center of the table.
And now...
The camp leader wasn't able to finish as Juliana rushed out from the Pioneer Cry and dived into the cake. Oh, don't steal my fucking cake, Juliana! You out to get smacked! She managed to nibble it a few times before she was pulled away. She was kicking and screaming. I stared blankly from the outside at all this drama. Alyssa smiling, Lena picked up some cream with her fingers, all the furious pioneers. This is a pretty funny. Is that wait? Dad, is this Olga Dmitrievna? This is Alicia and yeah, I think that's it. She nibbled a little piece here and here. No, that's you, Lena. This is Eliana. This is Lena. Hi, you little pussy. Yeah, that's not okay. Yeah. I felt completely out of place here. I thought that if I closed my eyes now and opened them again, here I am back to the safety of my apartment in front of a computer. I blinked, but nothing changed. Only the noise and the confusion became sharper.
Eliana, that's the limit. I just...
Well, in fact, behaving like this is a bit over the top, even for her. Shurik broke into the conversation, or is it a court-martial?
Please, Olga Dmitrievna. Since the cake is celebrating my return, it's no big deal.
He hesitated.
It doesn't matter.
The camp leader turned to Uliana.
And you. Today I'm going to punish you to the fullest extent, so you'll behave next time. Whatever.
She snorted and turned back.
You won't be going on the hike with us tonight. As if I wanted to.
I was more than willing to switch places with Rihanna and skip the hike instead of her, but who knew? If I have guessed beforehand, I'd have been the first one to go berserk and smash the damn cake. After a couple of minutes of confusion, the pioneers started to disperse.
You have to get ready too. There'll be a lineup at the square in half an hour.
I looked straight into the eyes of the camp leader, trying to express my attitude non-verbally, but it seems that I failed.
Don't be late.
Juliana was sitting at the table when I approached her on my way to the exit. So, why did you do it? She looked very upset, but she had a right to be so.
I wanted to.
Juliana replied abruptly. So, you are happy now?
Of course I am. And you? Good luck with the hiking.
She smiled mischievously, sprang up and rushed out of the canteen. Well, a little bit of luck won't hurt. Walk and you shall reach. It was exactly this proverb that kept whirling in my head all the way down to the camp leader's cabin. Somehow, I just couldn't manage to argue, to pretend that I'm sick, or just skip it without a reason. The events of this day taught me submissiveness, although sometimes whatever was happening made no sense to me. As I walked in, I had a thought. Well, in fact, how should I get ready? Clothes. I only have an overcoat and a pair of jeans. Anyway, I forgot to ask whether it's going to be an overnight hike or not. I couldn't think of anything better, so I grabbed the sweater that I had on me when I've arrived in the camp. The night might be fairly chilly, and shuffled slowly off to the square. All the camp was already there, although it was about 10 minutes before the time Olga Dmitrievna had designated. I settled down near the edge and waited patiently. Night was falling. If viewed from the outside, what a fairly comical picture we would make. A crowd of pioneers lined up out of sheer habit, like they were awaiting a silent command from the bronze Genda. And all this happening in the scarlet rage of the sunset race. And there he is, waving his hand and screaming, "Attack!" as roaring soldiers with red neckerchiefs charged into the battle against the ghostly enemy. But Olga Dmitrievna showed up and started to talk instead of Genda.
It seems everybody is here. Great.
I was so tired today that I couldn't even think about anything, so I ended up just listening to the camp leader.
Now, today we'll go hiking. It is essential for every pioneer to be able to come and rescue his comrade, to offer a helping hand in the hour of need, saving them from a hopeless situation. We have to learn to do all these things together.
A whisper that rang through the pioneer crowd suggested that most probably this truly epic expedition would end in a clearing in the forest several hundred feet away from the square. Somehow I thought so too.
We'll walk in pairs, so if you haven't chosen a partner for yourself yet, now's the right time to do so.
Pioneers quickly caught on to the idea and started to match in pairs. It looked like I was the only one without a partner. Slavia was enthusiastically discussing something with Olga Dmitrievna. Lena was with Miko. Electronic was, of course, with Shurik. Well, it might not be a bad idea to go alone after all.
Semyon!
The voice of the camp leader pulled me out of my thoughts. I went up to her reluctantly.
I see that you haven't found a partner.
Seems like it.
Then you'll join Shenya. She's alone too.
I was struck with that special kind of despair that only a true loner can experience. Oh, the loner life. So it appears that I'm left with the prickly librarian that I wouldn't risk spending a couple of hours with, even if I paid for it. Although we both seem to be in the same boat now. I slowly approached Shenya. Well, I guess we'll be going together. She looked up at me.
Don't you think that I'm glad?
Said Shenya seriously. Why on earth you should feel glad? I asked naively.
Never mind. It would be much better if you just shut up.
It couldn't get any better than this. She turned her back on me and followed the other pioneers. I still haven't seen any special reason to walk in pairs. Anyway, we were walking on the well-trodden forest trails, and it would be quite difficult to get lost here, even if I wanted to. Moreover, while we'd already been hiking for half an hour, we weren't rushing into the depths of the forest trying to face all the dangers that could test our courage and harden our pioneer spirit, but instead, they were just walking around in circles. However, if we take into account that Olga Dmitrievna was our chief, this hike could be compared to a hobbit's march from the Shire to Mordor. Just as Shenya insisted, I was following her at a distance in silence. The librarian seemed to be perfectly okay with it. Hey, don't you know when we'll reach a destination?
What?
The place where we'll settle down and set up a camp?
The whole point of this hike isn't to set up a camp, but the hiking itself. You don't get it?
Yeah, it seemed that I didn't understand a thing about hiking. I guess you're right. But still.
Oh no.
She replied sharply and quickened her pace. I caught up with her and I asked, listen, why are you always so... I was about to say mean, but stopped shortly. I haven't done anything bad to you, and I'm not going to. She glared at me in surprise.
Always so. What?
Well, unsociable, kind of. Or is it something about me?
Oh, cut that stupidity out already.
As you wish. I decided not to start a conversation with her for the rest of the hike. At last, Olga Dmitrievna decided to end this Sisyphean toil. I don't know what that is.
It's time to hold.
The place chosen turned out to be a quite large glade with a few trunks laid in a half circle to make an improvised arbor with the remains of a campfire in the middle. Obviously, such hikes are a tradition of this camp. I was sent to gather firewood together with the other boys. It didn't take long before there were a lot of branches and logs of various sizes lying around. This is looking pretty. It's actually a quite nice picture. I like that. Eventually, Olga Dmitrievna lit the fire using some old newspapers. I was eager to know what was written there, but couldn't discern anything other than Soviet symbols. Pioneers took their places on the fallen log benches and started to talk about things. It seems that the final goal of this event had been achieved. The only things missing were a pot of fish soup, aluminum cups of vodka, and a guitar. But I wouldn't be surprised if all of these things appear somehow.
What are you thinking about?
Slavia sat next to me. Oh, nothing special. Just enjoying the hike. I answered sarcastically.
You don't look too happy.
Well, I'm not about to jump for joy. Sorry about that.
Okay, I won't disturb you.
She sat with me for a while, but after realizing that I wasn't in the mood for talking, she left me to enjoy my introspection all alone. And all I wished for was to lie down in bed and fall asleep as soon as possible, but I was being surrounded by smoke and the useless chatter of pioneers around me. They were cheering and laughing, and in general enjoying this warm summer evening. In the far side of the glade, I noticed that Lena was arguing with Alicia intensely. And Lena seemed like complete opposite to me. Slavia had left to go somewhere after our conversation, it seems. Electronic and Shurik were trying furiously to prove something to Olga Dmitrievna. Looks like I'm the only one who doesn't belong here. Try to find out what Alicia and Lena are arguing about. Do nothing, just say see. I want to know. That makes me kind of curious, to be honest. Only Lena and Alicia stood out among all the splendor. Well, of course, it was quite natural for Alicia to be arguing with someone like that, but hearing Lena talk in a raised voice, I came closer silently, trying to understand what was going on.
No, you listen to me.
Think whatever you want. I've said everything.
It looked serious. I tried as hard as I could to not attract any attention and look like I'm just standing there with no intention of listening in on them.
There's nothing to think about. Everything is clear as day.
Don't try to run me around, you little finger, like that. I know you too well. Why? Of course you know everything. Then won't you tell him yourself?
Lena was getting angry. That alone was really weird. Even considering that I didn't know what they were arguing about.
That's none of your business.
Alicia snorted, turning around, and her eyes met mine. Second later, Lena gave me a look as well. The girl stood there in confusion for some time.
You're eavesdropping?
Me? Oh, no. I was just like passing by. I put on the best smile I had, but it didn't seem to help.
By the way, today he was peeping at me.
Alicia gave a malicious smile. Lena looked at me questioningly. First of all, why would she believe this devious fuck story? I didn't peep. You know quite well that it was an accident. Ulyana should be the one to blame.
It sure was. Tell that to the cops.
It seemed like my excuse was not working.
Did you like my boobs?
A shiver ran up my spine.
Is that true?
Lena looked at me imploringly. Well, you see, it was an accident. I didn't see anything there.
You didn't? Well, I can show you again.
Alicia cried in anger. What? Wait, what the fuck? What the fuck is she doing? I need to drink some water. That's just fucked up.
Yeah.
I don't know what to say.
You see, I told you.
No.
Lena started to mumble and rushed away a moment later. Wait, what happened? I shouted after her.
You see what you did? That girl's upset now.
She gave a spiteful smile. First of all, it wasn't me who upset her. Second, I don't have any idea what you two were arguing about. I was running out of patience.
Why should I tell you?
It seems like she thought that our talk was over and I was about to leave. I grabbed her hand abruptly. Alicia glanced at me in fear, but didn't say anything. I was angry at that moment. Really angry. First, I was wildly enraged that Lena was upset because of me, even though I was actually kind of guilty. Second, I was enraged by Alicia's insolence. Third, I was so tired that I was about to lose my temper at the smallest thing. Happy now? I hissed, pointing into the darkness where Lena had ran off. You only seem to have the guts to bomb memorials and hurt innocent girls. She looked frightened, saddened, and confused at the same time.
She herself could hurt anyone. You just don't know her.
The only truth here is that I don't know her too well, but I'm absolutely positive that she wouldn't hurt anyone. That's your job. We stood in silence for some time. I held Alicia's hand and didn't know what to do next. The solution dawned upon me all by itself. So you have to go and apologize.
Why the hell should I?
Alicia tried to act as arrogant as always, but it wasn't going to work this time. 'Cause I said so. I refused to hear an objection and dragged her to the side of the bonfire. Olga Dmitrievna, I'm sorry. We have some urgent business to deal with, so we have to leave early. The guidance officer tried to object, but I didn't listen and headed after Lena, pulling Alicia along with me. After some time, I released her hand. Any objections? All the pride and arrogance had left Alicia's face long ago.
If you want me to come with you, I will, but I have nothing to apologize for. I told her the truth.
We'll see about that. I cut her short. We had been walking in silence until we entered the camp. We came to the square and I asked Alicia, where do we go next?
How should I know?
And who said that they know Lena well? Was it me? Alicia hesitated.
Well, she could be at the island. She often goes there when she wants to be alone.
Excellent. She headed to the pier. Night came down on the camp while I searched for the paddles and pottered around with the ropes. One boat was actually missing. Okay, today is your lucky day. You get to do several killer exercises that will build up your biceps, triceps, and other arm muscles, I said sarcastically.
Are you serious?
Alicia cast a fearful glance at me. Well, perhaps that was a little too rough, even for her. Alright, I won't make you row, of course. That hardly sounded confident. Swinging the paddles appeared to be much harder this time. Well, that's not surprising considering that today I must already filled my annual rowing quota. I stopped in the middle of the river to catch my breath. The camp was covered by night. Wait, isn't this basically... Yeah, that's basically the other picture just with only her. Wait, isn't this... Yeah, it's just Alicia instead of Slavia and Lena, yeah? The camp was covered by night. A trivial and ordinary night. It was one of those nights when the dark sky, stars, crescent moon don't make you feel anything special, and chirping crickets and twittering birds sound like they are doing a dull routine job rather than performing an otherwise exciting nocturne. I was staring into the darkness, trying to make out the shadowy island. How did you get to know her? Alicia shivered a little.
We grew up together.
She answered slowly after some hesitation, and ended up at the same pioneer camp. What a fabulous coincidence. All these questions, mysteries, and fears that had been so well hidden so far suddenly spawned in my head. Damn, I could just throw her out of the boat and drown her right here and now. I can demand answers, although it could be dangerous unless I'm sure that I know what I'm doing. But still, I thought that this time I was playing with the white pieces, so I could make the first move and not just parry the blows of the opponent. So, what kind of camp is this? Alicia stared at me blankly. Where are we? Why am I here? She kept silent. Answer me, I shouted. Hey,
what's wrong with you? If you want me to apologize to Lena, I will.
That's when I realized how stupid I was acting, to say the least. She could simply be uninvolved in all that stuff. And what's more, one can't lie that convincingly. Alicia's fearful expression was yet another reason to believe her. Sorry. That was all I was able to say at the moment. Yet I wanted to keep my advantage. The last few meters were really tough. Exhausted, I got out of the boat and lay on the cold ground. Alicia stood nearby, staring at me. I thought she was about to goad me or utter some barbed witticism, but since she remained silent, I assumed she was still shocked or something. Even though it was rather dark here, it would be easier to hide in my old flat than on this tiny island. Furthermore, Lena must have already heard us as we were crossing the river, so by now it's already too late to ask Alicia any more questions, even though I still had some. Listen, I looked at her, but saw nothing. It was a dark night, and I didn't have cat's eyes. Well, when we find Lena, you're gonna tell her you never wanted to hurt her feelings, and everything that happened in the morning was nothing but a misunderstanding, okay? My voice didn't sound as confident as it did a couple of minutes ago, but confident enough. Although Alicia said nothing, it was clear by the look on her face that she agreed. I stood up and we went off to find Lena. Her boat was tied to a snag on the far side of the island. That's very clever of her. One wouldn't see the boat from afar, I mumbled. Well, that means she's somewhere in the trees left here. I headed into the grove, but Alicia stood still. What's up? I thought we discussed everything already.
It's not that. It's just that it's dark in there.
I had to strain my eyes to make out her face. The grove is similar than my grandmother's Stacy garden. What is there to be afraid of? Alicia didn't answer. If you want to know what I'm thinking, I would gladly just leave you here. I never know what trick you're up to.
Well,
she came very close to me. Let's go like this. She took my hand. Wait. She's not doing it exactly like Lena, but she's doing kinda, isn't she? Yeah, kinda. I hadn't expected this outcome. My cheeks turned red and hot, and my breath was taken away, and I could barely say anything. The whole situation didn't favor conversation, which was probably for the best, since I doubt I would be able to say anything smart. Slowly we headed into the grove. In a couple of moments I regained some control of myself. Come on, there is really nothing to be afraid of. We came here during the day gathering some strawberries. No big deal, just a normal birk grove. It's really nice here during the day. I added after a short pause. Alicia didn't look at me. She was staring somewhere into the distance. Well, it's up to you after all. A few moments later, she pointed somewhere in front of us.
There she is.
I peered into darkness, but could barely see anything. When we came closer, we saw Lena sitting beside a tree. No! She's crying. No, Lena. Lena, please don't cry. This is so sad. I hate my life now. Oh. That's a haha. When we came closer, we saw Lena sitting beside a tree. She was crying.
Why have you come here?
She asked tearfully.
And you?
She looked at Alicia but didn't finish the sentence. That moment, Alicia released my hand. Well, you see.
I just wanted to apologize for being somewhat harsh and rude.
Alicia interrupted me. Her voice had regained that usual arrogance of hers. Maybe it's because she didn't want to look weak in front of Lena.
What a perfect apology. Not walking the walk, are you? How clever of you to insist that I'm doing a bad thing and then do the same thing yourself.
Lena switched to shouting uncontrollably.
Oh, you got it all wrong.
I get what I've seen.
You see, girls, you're arguing again, and I seem to be somehow involved in all that, but I don't understand a thing.
Explain it to him,
Lena said to Alicia with a grin.
There's nothing much to explain.
Well, maybe you will let me have a try then.
Whatever.
She crossed her arms over her chest and turned away.
Well, then, Simeon, she blamed me for pursuing you.
For a minute there was complete silence. Lena didn't look like explaining any further, and as for me, I stood still trying to assemble these scattered pieces of the puzzle into a whole. What do you mean?
Exactly what I said.
It's not like
that. That's not what I meant.
Interrupted Alicia.
Of course. You've always been like this.
Lena burst into tears again. Wait, how come? So Lena likes me?
And now, what about you? You're trying to convince me that it's all wrong while you're holding his hand.
What, so Alicia likes me too? Oh, come on. Alicia actually liking someone? This can't be happening.
It's all... It was dark in here and...
That's so much like you. Always so arrogant, always trying to control others, but when it comes to yourself...
Alicia didn't answer. I really felt like I had to say something to defuse the situation. Hey, wait. Perhaps we just got it all wrong.
This has nothing to do with you.
Alicia's voice was oddly distant. Judging by the conversation, this has everything to do with me. Yes, it does.
Yes, it does. Ask her what she thinks of you and why she told me not to go after you.
I don't think Lena was actually going after me.
I'm telling you once again,
We heard enough of your story already.
Lena shut up and ran away into the darkness. I stood nailed to the spot, not sure what to do next. If I followed Lena now, what would I say when I found her? After all, I don't even understand what this is all about. My cluelessness and silly attempts to console her would only upset her more. Guess we'd better let her be alone for some time. That didn't sound very confident.
whatever.
Without another word, Alicia headed back to the boat. The whole way across the river to the pier, the hell of a trip, I had to stop every 10 or 20 meters to take a break. Alicia was staring at the river and didn't pay any attention to me. Well, this seems to be the first situation here in the camp that is completely beyond my comprehension, even though ultimately it's just a trivial everyday situation. I wasn't this confused even doing the all-night exposition to the old camp. After all, if you have a closer look, there isn't anything strange here at all. Lena is very shy and perhaps even introverted person, yet she's human and can't completely avoid normal human development. Considering that, her reaction fits the situation quite well. Even if I don't get the source of the quarrel, it's clear as day that the girls would not behave like that if they didn't have a good reason. And as things were standing, I was that reason. And that's the strangest part of the whole situation. Hey, I'm sorry it went that way. If only I hadn't overheard your conversation. Seems like I was feeling a pathological need to excuse myself.
It's not your fault at all.
She said absentmindedly.
It's just that you appeared in the right place at the right time and restarted a mechanism that had stood still for a long time.
I don't quite get it.
Of course you don't. And actually, you shouldn't right now. You'll get it later.
She cast an intense glance at me. Damn it. Why does this always happen to me? Both at school and college, trouble seems to have chosen me as its primary target. Somehow blocked the classroom door with a mop. I've got a written reprimand in my mark book. There was a fight. All things considered, I must have started it. I failed an exam? Well, of course, that's my fault, and the teacher who hates me has nothing to do with it. Even my parents always seems to prefer blaming me rather than an unfavorable circumstances, a third party's involvement, or the degrees of providence. At some point, I even started to believe that I somehow do attract trouble. Remember Murphy's Law? In my case, it was like, if something nasty is gonna happen, it's gonna happen to me. For that reason, I always tried to stay out of any trouble where I could become the whipping boy. Well, judging by today, I'm not really good at it. Fuck that guy. Stop. It's relatable. Way too relatable. Night.
It seems you got an aura of some sort. You do attract attention.
I surprised I looked at Alicia. She was smiling. Looked like she can read my mind. Trouble mostly.
Who knows?
She said dreamingly and stared at the river.
It's a wonderful night, isn't it?
Just like any other one, if you ask me. I felt used up.
That's exactly what I'm talking about. Just an ordinary night, nothing special. The best moment to make our most admirable camp leader really happy.
She
She has to know that her favorite pioneer is a nasty pervert who enjoys peeking at naked girls.
Something snapped inside of me again. You aren't serious, are you?
Why? Of course I'm serious.
She didn't look like she was joking at all. Well, suit yourself. But do you really think this is the best time for that?
Aren't you supposed to row?
I realized that a boat was still drifting in the river. Wait. Don't dodge my question.
Let's get back to the camp. I'll have a moment to think it over.
Getting to spend an entire night in a boat wasn't something I would aspire to do, so I had to apply myself to the paddles. We barely made it to the pier. I was exhausted because both of the rowing and because of Alicia's intent to tell Olga Dimitrievna about this morning's incident. If I know our camp leader, her reaction will be quite predictable. So you are actually going to visit Olga Dimitrievna now, are you?
Why not?
She gave me her most roguish smile. It's night after night. She must be sleeping already.
Who knows? She might well be awake.
Come on. You know full well it was a coincidence. A simple misunderstanding triggered by Oliana.
No, I don't.
She flung her arms up and headed to the camp. I gathered all my remaining strength, jumped up and followed her. At first, I considered grabbing her arm, but then I realized it might not be such a good idea after everything that had happened yesterday. Hold on. I trudged energetically along next to her. Let's talk this over.
Is there anything to discuss?
We silently walked alongside each other for some time. At least she walked slowly so that I had no trouble keeping pace with her, and I was thankful for it. Hey, is there anything I can do to convince you to not tell Olga Dimitrievna?
Not sure, but well, there is one thing.
We came to the square. So what is it? Well,
stop chasing Lena, for instance.
For God's sake, what makes her think I'm chasing Lena? I started to lose my temper. Why are we making up such nonsense? You started that quarrel in the forest. Because of you, we had to go to that island, and here we go again. Enough is enough. I'm not chasing Lena. Oh shit. Oh shit. Oh shit, boys. She looks like she's ready to chop my fucking head off. And that's fucked up. But you know what? That's gonna be it. That's gonna be this cliffhanger for this episode. Alicia stood still, bright moonshine lighting up her face, which showed evident signs of resentment and displeasure. But you know what? So next time, I'll see you all next time. Remember to leave a like, subscribe, and comment telling me about how fucked Alicia is for making Lena cry and not even showing her tits. I'm pretty mad. But I'll see you all next time.